Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jake the Fate, and in this video, I'm going to be doing a review and demo on this Harley Benton guitar. All right, so here I have a Harley Benton TE-40. Now the TE standing for Telecaster, the Telecaster body, and it's not very standard when it comes to a Telecaster because the Telecaster always has a single coil on the bridge and in the neck. This one has two humbuckers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to the workbench and I'm gonna show you guys spec by spec what this guitar brings, some of the good stuff and some of the bad stuff, but for the price range, it's not bad at all. And then after going through the specs, I'm going to give this guitar a little quick demo and give you guys my final thoughts on this guitar. All right, so this guitar is a basswood body with an ash top. It's got a bolt-on maple neck with a Palfaro fretboard. It's got a 12-inch radius on the fretboard with a 43 millimeter nut width. And I think that's just like plastic. I don't know if it's cracking there or not, but it's not anything special right there. And it's a 25.5-inch scale length. The whole entire guitar, and it's got 22 jumbo frets, which I personally love jumbo frets, and these aren't stainless steel, they're like nickel or something. The fret ends on this is horrible. Like, I'm doing this with my bare skin so you guys can see. And see that kind of ripped it up a little bit. All you guys have to really do is just like file it down a little bit, and then if you guys want to round it out, you guys can definitely do that. But nothing crazy. It's got a dual action truss rod in this thing. So with the electronics, again, very simple. One master volume, one master tone, three-way selector switch. And you got these two humbuckers, but I'm going to get into that in a few. You have this pneumatic bridge here in gold. Everything's gold, it's like a gold theme thing, which is pretty cool if you guys are into that bling or not. So the color on this guitar is like a translucent black. You get like this binding that goes around the entire guitar. And I thought it was painted on because like some spots here, like right there. It looks like it was painted on or something. Some QC problems like right there, right over here. On the headstock, like right there. Very minimal stuff. It's not really that big of a deal. But I feel like, since like it's the corners over here, they had to like kind of like fill it in by painting it. Or maybe they just use like the shitty tape that I use. Yeah, you get like this arc contour around the entire guitar, which is honestly really cool. Like, I personally love how that looks. And with like most typical Telecaster bodies, they're not usually like this. You have like the pick guard and you have everything routed up here. So like this thing is back routed and it has everything, pretty simple. Like, I mean, personally, I rather have it like this, you know what I'm saying? And then you have this, it's a string through body. It's kind of weird, and I did restring this guitar, so I was confused when I was like going, putting the strings in, and I flipped it over and I'm like, this one was on this side. It was just kind of weird because from the back, it looks different. You get like these gold strap buttons, I'm not really a fan of those because like those tend to really slip out. So, I mean, but for the price range, again, it's not bad at all. And this is what I was talking about the paint job, using the tape that I use. It's very minimal stuff. Like if you're like me that likes to spec guitars and stuff like that, you'll definitely go around trying to look for little stuff to like nitpick and stuff. Now I'm just going to take off these strings and show you guys what's under the hood here. So you have these two Roswell humbucker pickups here. It's like their AHF Alnico 5 humbucker pickups, which is kind of like a PAF. I guess is like their version of PAF. And the cool thing about these pickups is that the screw poles are actually gold, which, complement, the whole gold theme thing here. In terms of the hardware, I feel like with these, like over time, they're gonna like, the paint's gonna come off, but that's something that, happens to everything that's like coated. Anything that's like metal coated, it's gonna eventually come off. Another thing that I noticed is that these things come off really easily. So like when I went to restring this thing, they just kept falling off. So, be aware of that. Or like glue it down if you guys have the same issues. This is that pneumatic bridge. Nothing fancy, no name brand or anything. Gold, just like everything else. So these are the pickups. You know, B for bridge, AHF 40. That's what the inside of that looks like. And then the neck, EHF 40. I think 40 standing for like the TE-40, so I guess it's like their little code or something. But, you know, these pickups are really good, actually, to be honest. So I'm going to give you guys a little reading on them. On the neck position, you have 7.80 k ohms. On the bridge, 8.11 k ohms. And then in the middle, you have 4.1 k ohms. So, I mean, there's not really that much of a difference between the neck and the bridge, just by a few more winds. Bridge pickup sounds amazing. But that's the thing, like, I wouldn't say to switch out the pickups just because, oh, you know, it's Roswell or whatever. And I don't know if these are the same exact pickups that were in the Fusion 3 that I have, but I did switch out the pickups on that guitar. But with this one, of course, you know, it's probably, you know, they switched out the poles, but, you know, for some reason it does sound different. And these actually sound a little bit better than that one. So this is what's going on back here. You have two dime-sized potentiometers, a three-way selector switch, which is honestly one of the good ones. It's not one of those like square box ones. You have one of these like chiclet capacitors right there, green ones. You guys can actually coil split these pickups if you guys want to add like a little switch, or, you know, change the pot and put one of those like coil splitting pots. So you can actually coil split these. You guys have some decent space back here if you guys want to swap everything out, put some EMGs in here, which, you know, I've heard people say, why would you put EMGs or Seymour Duncans in a guitar that's cheap, you know? But that's all preference. It's up to you guys. You know, you got space for the bus, the battery, everything you guys want to throw in here. You know, extra switches and whatever you guys want to put, a kill switch or whatever. So a lot of playroom back here for you guys. And then you also get this little belly cut over here, which is great. To bolt on, like I said, maple neck. You have these die-cast tuners, they say. I haven't even taken this thing off, but you get like these die-cast tuners in gold. I think this guitar is made in China. It doesn't say anything, but I think this guitar is made in China. So, Chinese guitar, whatever. For money. This is what the headstock looks like. You got the Harley Benton logo right there, Deluxe Series. With the HB right there, gold and black. Again, you know, some minor QC issues, but honestly, I love how this headstock looks. One of my favorite ones. All right, so I took off the neck so you guys can actually see that there's actual binding on this guitar that goes around the entire guitar. It's not just painted on or scratched off or whatever. But right there, you guys can actually see that it's actual binding. And there's like a little shim on this thing. I'm interested in trying to know if it's actual binding or not. But again, like the paint on it, it's pretty crappy. I did have a Harley Benton TE-40 Paisley in black. I think it was black. But I gave that guitar to my nephew because, you know, he's more of a telly player and single coil kind of guy. But that guitar was awesome, man. Like, that's like his main guitar now. He's got a few other guitars, but like, you know, these Harley Bentons, they are some really great guitars. So yeah, all I'm going to do now is just restring this thing and give you guys a quick little demo and give you guys my final thoughts on this guitar. All right, so there it is, the Harley Benton TE-40. Now, like I said, there are a few things that do need to be worked on, like the frets, like I said, but it's very minimal stuff, you know, like the fret ends. Honestly, what really bugged me was the finish on this thing, man, because again, it's a gloss guitar, black, so you already know that's gonna be a fingerprint magnet. But this one in particular, for some reason, man, like it's stubborn as hell. Like I was cleaning it and it just like, for some reason, it wasn't like coming off. Like I've had other guitars and they come off pretty easy, but this one, I don't know what the hell they did, but you know, it's kind of stubborn. Other than that, you know, it's a pretty solid guitar, you know, for the money. These guitars new, they go for around $125. And now I did forget to mention the shipping cost in my other Harley Benton video. Somebody had told me in my comments, and I honestly, like, even with this guitar, I got it off the Facebook market, so I really don't know how long it takes and, you know, paying for the shipping cost. And I do know it's like around 80 something dollars. So you're actually paying quite a bit more for the shipping than the actual guitar in a sense. So like, honestly, my honest opinion would be trying to get it off of somebody else. This thing, it really surprised me, man. It's very versatile. It can do anything, you know, like it really does. And personally, me, I love the Telecaster bodies. I'm not much of a Tele player, but you know, I've always been a fan of like how the Tele bodies look with two humbuckers. I wish I had 24 frets. That would be my thing, and with like a Floyd Rose or something. But you know, for the money, man, like these pickups are good, to be honest with you guys. It's a solid guitar. You know, the only thing that did confuse me was when you put the strings in here, because like I've never, you know, dealt with the guitar that just has it like this. So it was like when I was like on this side, it was weird. When I pulled it over, I was like, whoa, I'm on the wrong one. But you know, I guess you'll get used to it over time. But other than that, man, like this guitar is awesome, and I highly recommend it to anybody that's, you know, can't afford like a really expensive guitar and wants a guitar that looks cool and sounds great. With a little bit of work, like with like filing this down a little bit or having somebody do it for you if you can't do it yourself, it's a really good guitar if you want to like record or go on like some gigs and stuff like that. You know, this guitar is really good. And honestly, I wouldn't even say to swap the pickups. Even though the reading is low, you have a good distortion and a good amp, it's gonna fucking rip. And I know Harley Benton is not really a name that's like out there like that, like, you know, most top brands, but you know, they're up and coming, so highly recommend it. And you know, with that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys found it useful. If you guys are interested in getting yourself one of these, like, comment, subscribe for more videos like this on guitars, guitar gear, anything guitar related, builds. That's all I do on this channel. And with that, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next one.